Blossom-End Rot. I had another L in the garden. So this happens to tomatoes. It can also happen to eggplants and peppers sometimes too. But basically, the bottom of your tomato ends up rotting out from basically the inside out, and it's no good after that. And what happens, the reason that is happening is because this tomato is deficient in calcium. It's very, very important for tomatoes to have a good amount of calcium when they're being formed, because that makes the skin tough, which protects it against pests and all kinds of other stuff, bacteria, fungus, all that good stuff. At the bottom of a tomato, you'll notice it looks kind of like a belly button, I guess. You'll see those at the bottom. That is where the flower detaches after it's fertilized and it starts growing into a tomato. That area is very, very vulnerable. One of the most vulnerable parts of the tomato. And if it has low calcium and the skin is weak, when moisture gets onto the tomato, of course, it's going to stay on the tomato until it gets to the bottom. That's a physics lesson right there. And it collects right there and begins to rot like this if it doesn't have enough calcium. There's a lot of reasons why a tomato will not have enough calcium. Calcium is very important, especially for tomatoes, because like the plant constantly needs it, whether it's growing the plant itself, but especially if it's growing the fruit. It needs to keep that going, pulling it out of the soil. And one of the reasons that it could stop is, one, there's not enough calcium in the soil, or because it's dry, inconsistent watering. Like if you let it go too dry for a while, it's just not able to pull it up. The soil has to be moist for it to grab the calcium. So that could be another reason why calcium enough isn't getting to this tomato. For me, we went on vacation a while back and I let them go and they got too dry. And so that's what I think happened here. So what do? Normally these happen like at the first few tomatoes that you get on the plant. So you just take these off. They don't transfer to other tomatoes or other plants, other tomato plants. So just rip it off, throw it away, and wish for a better crop coming up. Also, if you're worried about whether there's enough calcium in your soil, you can test it. Also, if you're pretty sure there's enough fertilizer and stuff in the soil, like I'm pretty sure I have enough calcium in there, all I do is I'm taking some Epsom salt, about a teaspoon to a gallon of water. Mix that up and I'll pour that into the soil. What that does is Epsom salt releases magnesium into the soil, which is critical for plants like the roots to take up nutrients. So if it's a problem that my roots aren't getting enough calcium, that magnesium should help it kind of draw it up if it's there. But yeah, you just kind of keep your eye on it. Don't get too bummed out if this happens. It happens all the time. It also could happen if the tomato plant grows too fast. And of course, I'm impatient. So I was trying my best to get it going as fast as I can, and if you go too fast, this is what happens, like driving. So that's it. Make sure that your plant has a steady flow of calcium throughout its whole life. It needs a steady flow. So keep an eye on the pH levels, the nutrient levels in the soil, and then be careful when you spray the top of the tomato plant.